This is where I want to start with the whole thing. Somebody knew something, in my opinion, allegedly. SVB Financial CEO sold 3.6 million in stock before banks collapse. I'm sure it was just a coinkydink. Tie anything together, you're a conspiracy theorist if you do. The CEO of Silicon Valley Bank sold this stock 2 weeks before the California banking giant's epic crash Friday. And if you know how this stuff works, I'm not an expert, but I just have a general idea. You can't just go in there and sell 3.6 million in stock. You've got to plan that before. So they knew, at least the CEO allegedly knew well more than 2 weeks before this collapse that something ain't right. So I had to go secure that bag before it all fell apart. Not too much different than the FTX stuff, honestly. It's different, but fundamentally, it's a Ponzi scheme that was falling apart based on the failure of the people in charge. Fundamentally, it's the same thing. And guess what? They all, well, for the most part, supported Democrats. You've got Peter Thiel in there that is not way more MAGA friendly. But for the most part, we know big tech is woke. You see ChatGPT, you can't even ask it really about Trump, or it treats Trump different than Biden. Woke, non-woke, it's programmed. The wokeness is programmed into Silicon Valley. And they knew, in my opinion. It has led to the biggest bank failure since the Great Recession in 2008. Let me go to the people. I showed a clip of who you shouldn't listen to when these financial issues arise. But let's focus on who you should listen to. I'm going to be quiet and listen. They break it down very well here. This is on Dave Smith's channel. Sub up to this. Dave Smith right here. Might be announcing a presidential run pretty soon. We'll see.
58 basis points, about 0.5% added return. They put themselves in a position to go bankrupt. And that's what happened. I mean, this is negligence of the highest order. And this is where the ESG stuff comes into play. They're just not really focused on risk. And ultimately, as a banker, that is your highest duty. I mean, you have to be focused like a laser on risk all the time, and obviously profitability and looking after your shareholders. But risk is everything as a banker, because if you go insolvent, well, then the whole game is up.
Well, it's another form of profitability and looking after your shareholders. Exactly. You don't go belly up, right?
Exactly, because if you have income but you don't take into consideration losses, well, then the income doesn't really matter, right? And that's essentially what happened, is that they put in charge, and well, it gets way uglier too. The CEO was on the San Francisco Fed board as of Friday of this week, Dave. So he got let go. His company goes belly up on Friday, and he gets let go from the San Francisco Fed board on Friday too. I mean, it's incredible.
Right, so listen, did he have a hand?
The person on the right is Clint Russell. I like people who can explain complicated things in simple manner, and he's just great.
Kicking off the global world economic collapse, possibly, but you got to admit, rough Friday for that guy. Like whatever his weekend plans were, they really got messed up. Like that was not Thursday morning. This guy was feeling pretty good about where things were going.
Well,
well, maybe not, but
yeah.
You sent me which I couldn't even believe was real, but that one of the guys, what was his position? One of the guys who was an exec there was also was he the CFO for Lehman Brothers?
He was the CFO for Lehman Brothers.
And Lehman Brothers, if you don't know, I believe Lehman Brothers was the first bank to fail in the big 2008 crash. The big takeaway for especially young people is people will see the financial system crashing, and they will blame capitalism. You know that happens. You know they will. Because there's people who are opportunistic. Just like if there's a hurricane, you remember, I think it was in Florida, there was a hurricane. People are looting houses and doing all kinds of scams. We're in a financial hurricane, so people who want to manipulate others, whether they get them into the T group or they get them into the Democratic Party or whatever the case may be. Elizabeth Warren, I'll probably show a little clip from her blaming Trump for this. That's special kind of stuff. they'll use it as an opportunity to manipulate your mind and say, see? And if you don't know what's happening, you could easily fall into that. Oh yeah, you're right. Capitalism is evil. No. This ain't a capitalism thing.